So I guess I'm an applicator. The talk today I have is to give a short update on water quality agreement activities with a particular focus on those that are related to habitat-related work. So the water quality agreement is indeed a water quality agreement, but it really is water quality in the broadest sense. The chemical, physical, and biological aspects of water quality, which really means we recognize the importance of water quality to support the health and productivity of the lower and upper food web. The recently updated water quality agreement has a number of general objectives for the waters of the Great Lakes that relate to the protection and restoration of water quality, but it also recognizes the importance of supporting habitats for native species. And the reason is in both directions. So we do want water quality that supports the animal and biota that are in the native habitats in the lakes, but we also recognize that healthy habitats support healthy water quality. So healthy coastal wetlands provide both examples of the interconnection between water quality and habitat. Today I want to give an update on a few items. The lake ecosystem objectives work, which is really our environmental goal setting exercise. The lake-wide action and management plans, or LAMPs, which are our work plans for water quality restoration. The Coordinated Science and Monitoring Initiative, or CSMI, which is the scientific investigations and research we do. And all of these have habitat-related work involved, but the last two here, the Annex 2 Nearshore Framework and the Annex 7 Habitat Baseline Assessment work really do focus in particular in the nearshore aquatic resource. So first with lake ecosystem objectives. These are particular targets that we set, and they're nested within the overall structure of the water quality agreement. So it really flows from the purpose, vision, and general objectives. And lake ecosystem objectives are those near-term or mid-term goals that allow us to assess progress towards our longer-term objectives and vision and purpose. This slide has a little more information. I've highlighted that this is all really related to the waters of the Great Lakes, so the open waters of the lakes themselves, and moves from the general purpose of restoring and maintaining the chemical, physical, and biological integrity of the lakes to the vision where we have a healthy and prosperous Great Lakes region that uses and enjoys Great Lakes water, and so on. And really the important thing here is that the lake ecosystem objectives tie directly to the general objectives of the agreement. There's been a lot of work recently on lake ecosystem objectives. As you can imagine, there are many folks that have a piece to play in this. One of the major things we did was make sure we kind of began with the end in mind and set up what our criteria was for our first attempt at developing LEOs for a lake. Really, we wanted to make sure we were doing something that was more targeted with fewer rather than many general lake ecosystem objectives, that it was achievable in the near term. And really, this one turned out to be the hardest hoop to jump through. That data was readily available to report on progress in the next 5-year LAMP document. What we found is that there are a number of lake ecosystem objectives that are ready to go and we think can be adopted, but through the discussion we really identified just as many things that could benefit from additional work and development so that we have monitoring programs in place and we can do goal setting with an expectation that in 5 years we can actually check on progress. Where things stand right now is the Lake Erie team developed a draft set of LEOs, and those will be shared with the working group very soon, which in turn goes through the normal water quality agreement chain of review Next would be Lake Erie Management Committee, and then a briefing at the Great Lakes Executive Committee meeting in June. And our goal, we think this is pointed in the right direction, and we hope to get started on the other lakes, but obviously pending the review of these other management groups. Turning to the LAMPs. In a slide, and in 2 bullet points, a LAMP really has 2 major aspects. First is the assessment of the state of the lake, and that can include the status of whether they're attaining their LEOs or not, basically identifying the threats to water quality that exist in each lake. And then more importantly, the identification of actions that will restore water quality over the next 5-year management cycle. Currently, the Lake Superior LAMP is in finalization. We hope to release that soon. And the Lake Huron LAMP is currently being drafted in 2016. And I see a lot of similarities here with some of the statements that were made earlier about environmental principles. We really are looking for very specific, targeted actions that we can include in the work plan. In this case, let's say for Lake Huron under development. And we really want to narrow it down to those where there is agency support, agency sponsors that are willing to kind of take this on. Of course, we recognize budgets, commitments, priorities do change, but we think that kind of putting that threshold there will help us identify the ones that really are the ones we should be tracking over the next 5 years. Cooperative Science and Monitoring Initiative, or CSMI. This is, again, our research and scientific investigation process that water quality partners work together on. Goes through sort of a phased approach where first the LAMP team identifies priorities that they have for additional research. Really, these are information needs that would better inform water quality management and water quality management in its largest sense. Next, and that's really done under Annex 2. Those priorities get sent over to Annex 10, which really is where the actual researchers will develop sampling plans for the field year. And then we do have a binational field year implementing that work. Right now, and these sampling periods roll through each one of the Great Lakes. Right now, Lake Ontario is currently identifying their priorities. Lake Huron is currently planning their sampling. And this field year, folks will be in Lake Superior actually collecting data. These last 2 items I'm sort of including together because there's a lot of overlap. The nearshore framework is something that's called for under Annex 2 of the Water Quality Agreement to do an assessment of the state of the nearshore waters. In particular, identifying high quality areas for protection, but also identifying stressors to impaired areas of the nearshore, and then developing a monitoring program over time to assess progress. The habitat assessment under Annex 7 is related, really focusing on the quality aspects of the nearshore aquatic habitat. And so through discussions over the past few years, these 2 groups of folks have really interacted with each other to develop some approaches to fulfill the words of the agreement itself, but actually get to this intent of having a better understanding of how water quality is affected by and supports nearshore aquatic habitat. One of the major things they have identified as a first step is to develop a classification process for nearshore aquatic habitat that would include things like substrate, nutrients, vegetation, wave energy, temperature, which would really allow for better cross-comparison and a more systematic assessment process to be put in place, and something that can be binational in scope. Now, there's a lot of detail related to this, and both groups will be releasing documents soon about the proposed approach. I think one thing I want to emphasize, to have modest expectations for this. This is really just an articulation of a proposed approach. It falls short of actually identifying sampling plans or monitoring designs. But we're looking for a check-in with all of our stakeholders on whether we're heading in the right direction. And we think we are, and we think this will be pretty straightforward. And frankly, I know a lot of folks working on this can't wait to get to work. So that's a summary of the different ways that I think the fisheries-related concerns, stakeholders can see some of their work overlapping and appearing and being used by water quality agreement processes. I think there's a lot of opportunities for individual agencies or individuals or committees to get involved with water quality agreement activities. Being a member of the lake partnerships themselves, participating in LAMP development, participating in the CSMI priority setting, planning, and implementation. And then, this opportunity to review the proposed frameworks for nearshore assessment and habitat assessment that will be released very soon. And I think this really shows that both of water quality and fisheries management really are headed in the same direction on habitat-related work. And I expect there will be a lot of future opportunities for continuing coordination on habitat-related activities. So that's what I have prepared. Thank you, Dick.